Do you have a dirty little secret? Welcome to the club.
And you're all invited.
The first rule of the Dirty Little Secrets Club is tell everyone about the Dirty Little Secrets Club.
We're handing out memberships, free of charge.
Step up to the VIP line and let Dayna and Brimstone take you on a weekly ride of secrets and debauchery.
Now buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get heated on the Dirty Little Secrets Club. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dirty Little Secrets Club. We are your hosts.
I'm Dayna Pereira.
And this is Brimstone, and it's going to be another off-the-hook episode. I gotta say, I'm glad you're feeling better, Dayna. Dayna, for everybody out there, she had a bout with COVID.
I did.
And thankfully, you are looking gorgeous as always, and you're feeling better. So I am so happy for you.
Yeah, this one was a mild run, which is good because I was afraid that I was going to be really down for the count. Minor aches and pains. I had a little fever. And that was that. And then, a couple of days later, I hung out in bed, I watched some TV, and then I was ready to fucking drink and party for the 4th of July by myself in my yard because I still couldn't be around people.
Insane. Absolutely insane. I to be completely honest, I was very heavily considering, protesting and not celebrating on the 4th of July.
Uh-huh.
And I decided against it, for this year. But obviously in solidarity with the women, and the whole
I
Roe
definitely
thing.
was not drinking to celebrate our country. Do not get that twisted. I was coping with our country that day. I was strictly coping.
Yeah. I'm just, that was one of the things that I was really heavily contemplating. There was so many things. And again, the things that had really bothered me even more so, and I'm going to put it out there because everybody should know about it. We're going to use our platform, minimally, but we have to use it to a certain extent to make sure people understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
In Ohio, a 10-year-old girl was raped, and they told her, oh, it's a blessing that you're pregnant.
Such
and
bullshit.
Yeah. And she had to go to, I believe it was Virginia. I don't remember. She had to go over state lines so she could take care of and get an abortion. The governor there is, oh, well, it's a blessing. And then the governor in not San Diego. Sorry about that.
Definitely not San Diego.
No. I apologize for that. In South Dakota was saying that, she's okay with it and that all life matters and blah blah blah, and that the same thing that if you're 10 or 11 or 12 and you get raped, but every life is precious, and you can't kill this life because of that. Is that going to make it any better? And then having an abortion is just going to make it that much more traumatic. Like, are you kidding me?
Them.
So this is
way more traumatic than having to birth and raise a child a child raising a child. And then on top of that, what better to celebrate America than a fucking mass shooting at a 4th of July parade?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was like only one of about 15 different things that happened this past week alone. In a week, there was like about 14, 15 mass shootings.
Oh my God. I'm struggling, man. I am struggling. I'm ready for yo, Canada. Yo, you got room for me? Because I'm feeling helpless down here, man. I am feeling helpless. So helpless.
It's bad. It really is bad. And people, listen, if you guys believe in, pro-life, look, you have your right to feel that way and you could do that for yourselves. But, when it comes to everybody else, you don't have the right to tell them what to do. And that's the problem. I said to Danielle, I go, I'm going to get myself into trouble because I can't stay quiet about this stuff. I said, I can't. She's like, you need to stay quiet. You can't, because she's worried that people are going to take aim at me. You know what I mean? And
at this point, I'm ready to burn it down because honestly, if you're pro-life, that's great. You need to be pro all life then. You need to
Yeah.
support trans lives. You need to support Black lives. You need to support all of the lives if you are
Yeah.
so pro-life.
There we go.
So, like, don't be a hypocrite. If you want to be pro-life, but be pro all
Be pro all
life.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be pro all life. And, the same people that are, my body, my choice with the shots, and they're the
Oh, with the
same people that
masks.
didn't want to wear
Yeah.
masks.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And the same people that are itching to, continue with the death penalty, and
You weren't so pro-life then, were you? When you had to put
yeah.
a fucking piece of cloth over your face. Fuck those people. They're old and they're frail and they're going to die. I shouldn't have to be inconvenienced because of them.
Right.
So pro-life.
Right.
Super pro-life.
That's what I'm talking about. And again, people's religions have nothing to do with there's a separation between church and state for a reason. And
Mhm.
there's no reason that we should be I'm Jewish, man. I'm Jewish, and I am not Catholic or Protestant or any of the other religions out there. I'm Jewish. So I can I believe that a woman's body is her own. I believe, listen, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And if they're gonna do this, then what they should do is they should go to all the kids, all males, every single male should, when they're, until they're a certain age, must have their tubes tied until they're ready to have children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make it fair. Make it fair. I don't want to get my tubes tied. Like
Totally.
even now, Danielle's like, well, why don't you get this tied? I'm like, nope, no, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. So, but at the end of the day, if that was the case, to prove a point, maybe I'd have to. But I don't know, man. It's just, I don't
It
know.
just seems that there is a lot of regulation on female bodies, not so much regulation on male bodies. And
Right.
I support the argument that a woman can have one baby in 9 months, one baby, and a man can have 400 if he so chooses.
Yeah.
And so I really do think that we need to kind of scale it back. Remember, like, the problem isn't if we can have one baby and you can have 10 babies, then like, maybe we need to reassess where we're making these choices for regulating this shit.
Yeah. And once the kids are pre-birth, they're a living thing, and everybody cares before they're born. But it's like pre-K, nobody cares anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care, and they don't want to help the families, they don't want to help the women, they don't. And again, people, look, we're not trying to bore you with more shit that you've heard over and over and over again, but the whole point is you need to hear it over and over and over again, because not if we don't work together, there will be no differences made, and it's just going to keep getting worse. And then something that you don't realize or you hold dear is going to come next, because again, LGBTQ, they're coming after them, they're coming after contraceptives, they're coming after, what do you call it, what's next? They'll come after the Jews, just like they did in Nazi Germany. You know what I mean? So so if I don't say something now, you know what I mean, who knows what's going to be next? Right?
Unfortunately, we are in a place where we have no fucking idea. It's just scary. Everything's terrifying.
It's just crazy. I mean, look, I'll put it this way. There will always be a way, and people can find a way to get things handled and done. It shouldn't be as difficult, though. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It shouldn't be as difficult. And again, here, hey, and anybody that is LGBTQ, if you are in a state that won't marry you and so forth, you let us know, and I'm happy to marry you, because I am able to. So what do you call, I'm happy to do it for you, and as long as I can get to you, I'll do it free of charge. So what do you call it?
Over Zoom.
We'll do it over Zoom. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not listen, people need to have their freedoms, and that's what this country was built on, is freedom. People need to get off the Constitution, because the Constitution was written however many years ago by a bunch of men, you know what I mean? and the things that are happening, the things that are happening now have nothing to do with anything back then. So why don't we get started? Because otherwise we're just going to take this show into and you know me, I'll just keep going on and on and on and on, and I won't stop. You want to get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
First one we have for today says, I forgot I had a tampon in and had sex with my boyfriend. It got shoved so far up that I had to go to the doctor to have it removed. She said it happens more often than we think it does, but maybe she was just saying that to make me feel less like an idiot.
Oof. Well, first and foremost, like if you're, that's never happened to me. And I'm in my 40s, so I've
Happened to me.
never did it. Really? You
I
forgot that it was.
I forgot that I had one in. Because you get to like the last day or whatever, you're wearing a light one or whatever, and yeah, forgot that I had it in, and it was pushed all the way up to the point where I could not find the string, and I was like digging for a while. It was terrifying. Um, but I had a very kind roommate at the time, and she dug up there and got it for me.
Well, now I know that you've experimented in a way.
It was all about angles. Like I didn't have the right angle, like trying to go up with my own hand. And she had just like a straight shot. And she was like, just what open here, let me help you. And she just dug right up in there and she found it for me and pulled it out. Yeah.
Hold on.
What I like to call a good friend. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Yes. She's like a goddamn magician.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good friend. Hopefully you still speak to her.
I do, actually. Yeah,
I
just talked to her a couple of days ago.
Does she ask you how you hooch is?
No.
So how's your
Yeah. But the thing is, it's always good to have a friend that would do that. But I'm not as confident in myself being as good of a friend to her. But it was nice to have her in my corner. I would probably be like, yo, I'll be a good friend. I will drive you to the ER. Okay.
Wow. I can't believe that is insane. But yeah, okay. So, but how does the guy not realize there's something there? You know what I'm saying? First of all, either do you not look? That's one. Two, are you not doing anything prior? Three, most people are either touching or feeling or rubbing. You should feel the string. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not like it's not like a thread. It's a string. You see it, you feel it, and so forth. So I would assume that anybody who's going to do it would at least realize and go, hello, how are you? What's going on here? You know what I mean? So that is, if the woman for some reason forgets, I would assume the guy would be smart enough, obviously not, to to figure that out.
To be like, hey, I'm hitting something here. There's something here. What is that?
That's weird. Well, I guess she's really tight. So delicious. I love it.
Like cotton.
So feels like cotton and something. I don't know. But yeah, something's wrapped around the head. I don't get it. It's, I don't know, man. Well, listen, yeah, I guess it does happen more often than not. Not more often than not, but to other people.
Yeah.
More often than we think. That was what I wanted to say. Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure doctors pull all sorts of shit out of hoo-has and anuses.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've heard so many stories, because people shove them up somewhere and then can't freaking get them out. Mm-hmm. So the poor doctors have to see all of this stuff. Yeah. I don't. Now what do they do? Like, if after they find the thing, do they pull it out, put it in a plastic bag, and you go, here you go? Or do they have like a room that has like all this crap in it, like
I really hope they just throw it in the biohazard trash.
What do you call it? Wow. All right. Well, it is what it is. You want me to move along?
Sure.
Okay. So I was a stripper and met my husband in the club when he was one of my customers. We told his mom that we met on Christian Mingle. It's been over 10 years now. I quit stripping when we officially started dating. So since I was saying I was a stripper and, met my husband, I figured I'd go with the whole thing. Okay. So you met on Christian Mingle.
At least that's the story mom got.
That's the story. But that's so weird because strippers most of the time do not want anything to do with the guys that go into the club. The guys that go into the club are the marks. You know what I mean? So
Sure. Yes. I think a lot of the time they're there to make money, but you have to understand strippers are women too. And if they see a hot dude come in, sometimes I mean, I know a lot of people that have gone home with people from strip clubs. So it's not all that weird to me.
I've done it more.
Yeah.
Yes, because I don't. But see, the reason why I had done it is because when I went, I was usually the person that was dragged there. I had no desire to necessarily be there because I'm not spending money. So I'd wind up talking to the girls and being real, and
Uh-huh.
not sitting going, I want to see Denny's. You know what I mean? And that's what these guys are doing. I want to see it all.
Yeah.
So that gives you the in. But what do you call it? If somebody's in there tossing 20s at you, like, is that going to make you want to go home with them? No, that just means you want to shake your ass a little more in front of them to get
I
a couple
think you
more
have to
bucks.
have like the attractiveness. I mean, whether somebody's throwing money at you or not. And then also if you're attracted to them and you have a good conversation. And a lot of these girls get to know their customers on a very personal, they end up being like their own personal goddamn therapists rather than, dancing for them all the time.
Okay. I'm gonna take your word for it.
You know that I used to waitress at a strip club, right?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Really?
I used to.
Wait, did you dance too?
No, I was a server at a strip club and it was a
didn't know
juice
this.
bar. It was a juice bar.
Right.
So I knew a lot of the girls and I watched a lot of shit happen. And I've seen and heard all of the stories and I've watched like girls would go into the back room. They would take guys back there. They would spend $200 an hour or whatever for the champagne room. They would just sit there and talk. Maybe she would get up and dance once or something like that. And then that was it.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen a vagina and some girl shaking her ass in vain. I don't know, man. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So great. Christian Mingle it is.
That's the name of the strip club, Christian Mingle.
Christian Mingle. That's the name of the strip club.
Yes.
And they've been together for 10 years now. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Listen, you do you, boo boo. That's great. Interesting. I think it's very interesting. I don't know. Like I know a lot of women that post for Playboy and a lot of the other magazines and so forth. And me personally, like I'm more of a private or in the bedroom private person. And I don't like, I wouldn't want guys sitting and oogling on my wife or the person I'm with. Like the furthest I've ever gone. I mean, I slept with some of the girls, but I never, dated any of them. The closest I ever got was with a Hooter girl. And
I worked at Hooters too. Sorry, go ahead.
didn't know that. I didn't know that. That puts you in a whole new light. No, I'm just kidding. But I dated a Hooters girl for a hot minute. When in an in-between time when the first time that my ex and I split up. And then we got back together and then we were done again. But
I remember that story. You told me that story.
Yeah. So that was I mean, that was the closest I ever got. But me personally, like if I was meeting a girl that was shaking her ass in front of X amount of people, I respect what you do, boo-boo. That has nothing to do with me. That's cool. Would I maybe interact or be friends with and so forth? Great. But I wouldn't personally be in a relationship. Not that they're not a sweetheart or a nice person or a good person or is doing it to pay their education or whatever. I'm not judging. But I couldn't be with somebody that so many other people are sitting and watching like that. I couldn't do that.
There's other people that have like other dudes are like, yeah, that's my woman and you fucking want her and she's coming home with me and they get off on that. So
and that's why we have a show.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same reason why I've never dated and gotten involved with other women in the entertainment industry because like you know what I mean, like if you're an actor, an actress, you're gonna have an opportunity, especially if you're a good looking woman. You might have to do kissing scenes or sex scenes with other guys.
Right.
I know it's acting and I get it, and but I wouldn't be comfortable with that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know how comfortable Danielle would be with me if I got a role that I had to do something like that, but I can also turn that role down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it is what it is, but you see where I'm going? Like that's,
yeah, totally.
and like the girls, and a lot of women in entertainment, they get a shit ton of attention. So, like you can't tell me that Joe is always crazy about all the attention you get. You know what I'm saying? Like he might be like, oh, that's cool, but then be like, who's somebody sending you dick pics? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So he did at first. He was a little like, I don't know if I love this. And now if I send him a picture, he's like, oh, that's a hot one. You should post that one.
But you see what I'm saying? Like,
Totally.
that's just where my person, but again, my person, just like we said on everything else, my personal opinion does not matter to anybody else. I'm not putting that on anybody else.
Yeah.
It's just my own personal opinion. See, I'm making points throughout the show.
I like it. We're calling it back. We're calling it back.
Yeah, bringing it back. So, you're next, my dear. You're next.
All right. I love this one, by the way. My neighbor is an old grouchy asshole, and he's always yelling at me that there's too many birds in my yard.
Hey, there's too many birds in your yard.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you dirty birds. Oh, goodness.
Like, that's something I can control or even care about. About 5 months ago, I started tossing a bunch of bird seed over the fence once or twice a week.
That's a Dayna move.
Right.
That's a fucking Dayna move if I ever heard
Dayna
one.
Move.
Yeah.
And casually mentioned to him how many more birds are in his yard than mine. I could have stopped months ago, but it's too much fun.
Wow. I understand if he's getting like these birds crapping all over the place, and like I can understand that could be a little irritating and annoying, but it's nature, dude. It's nature. There's nothing you can do about it. I hate walking outside and seeing pterodactyl crap on my porch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I feel you. I feel your pain. But come on, man. Like, then put up a scarecrow or something. Like, do something about it. Like, don't complain to your neighbor. You know what I mean? Like, you have too many birds in your yard.
If
like,
my neighbor looked at me and said, you have too many birds on your lawn, I would look at them and say, it's my fucking lawn. Keep your eyes on your own lawn then. If you don't like the way my lawn looks, too fucking bad.
It's nature, bitch. That's it.
It's
nature,
bitch.
and I'm a mother. I'm motherfucking nature. Yeah. It's funny. Yesterday, Danielle and I were having coffee outside in the morning before I had my hellacious day yesterday. And what do you call it? We have there's a really cool contraption that we have. It's like a four-way hanging basket thing, like different levels, and it's really cute looking. I saw it and I had to get it because I thought it was just cool looking. And so we have some hanging baskets, and there was a little, I don't know, I think it might have been a sparrow. It was a tiny little bird. It was really cute. It kept flying over it, and it was not far from where the table is. So the bird kept flying into this one basket, and I thought he was sitting and eating the plant itself. I'm like, why are you eating my plant? Or are there like some kind of bugs in there that you're getting? Like, what? And it kept flying away and then coming back, flying away, coming back. And I'm like, what the hell is he eating? And so I looked, something, I don't know what it was. There's a big chunk of bread inside. So I don't know if somebody like threw it from over a fence somewhere, or if a squirrel dropped it there to hide, or a bigger bird was flying by and it fell in there. I don't know how it got there. We didn't put it there. So but meanwhile, now like these birds are sitting there and eating away. So it's just like the weirdest thing. But my point is I happen to love birds in the yard. I love seeing cardinals. We got a lot of cardinals. We got sparrows. We got, pigeons. We've got, what do you call it? A little bit of everything. And matter of fact, one of the pigeons, I don't know if I ever told you the story. One of the pigeons a couple years ago had gotten, because we had the cap on our house for the fireplace. The cap isn't the right size. We had to get a new cap. So what do you call it? Some critters sometimes get down there. Well, I had a raccoon that we had to scare out of there a couple times. But one time we wound up getting the flue was open. I don't know how I forgot to not close it, but there was a pigeon in there. It was a little pigeon. It was sitting in there, and I felt so bad. It was like it was a baby. I knew it was a baby.
Yeah.
And it was scared so much. And so instead of trying to figure out how to get it up, I opened up the thing and I took it nice and carefully and I pulled him out and I
Yeah.
brought him outside, and he actually stayed in my hand for a couple of seconds, not like a minute, but like
Right.
30 seconds, kind of like okay, this isn't so bad. And then he took off and he flew away. But he didn't go far. He just went local, and it was just kind of like, okay. So I call him Prince, because when doves fly, it's a baby dove, not a pigeon. It was a dove. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say pigeon?
Yeah.
I meant to say dove. So doves, just same thing.
Yeah.
The rats of the bird kingdom. And what do you call it? What do you call it? So I let the dove go, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna name him Prince because it's when doves fly. And now any of the doves that come by the house, I'm always like, it's got to be Prince, because he's coming back to say hello. Because we have a pair of doves that stay there, so I'm assuming one of them has to be him. But I don't know what their life expectancy is or anything. But
yeah, me neither.
I like to think it's him. But I love the birds. I love them. They're nice.
I'm a big fan too. I watch them all. We have like a bird feeder in our yard so that I can sit in the backyard and drink my coffee and watch the birds come to and from. We do recently have a bunch of doves that have like taken up residency in our yard, and I have noticed that the other birds aren't coming around anymore. Like,
really?
My bird feeder, if we fill our bird feeder, usually by the next day it's gone. And we filled our bird feeder up on Sunday or Monday, and it is still completely full because these doves are chasing away all of the other birds. They're not coming into our yard anymore.
There might be a nest. There might be a
I
nest
think there is. Yeah.
See, I don't know how it is by you, but in the area that I'm in, we have a couple of bird feeders nice bird feeders that we were going to use. And we decided not to, because the problem is when you use the bird feeders, you can attract rats. And because rodents, because what happens is anything that falls on the ground, because they're just dirty, like birds are dirty. I had macaw for many years, and my macaw would throw things all over the place, and it was awful. So and that was on a big scale, but the small birds, the seeds go everywhere. So whatever falls on the floor is then the rodents come and they grab that, and then they keep coming back for that, and then they'll even attempt to get onto like squirrels always will try to get onto the feeder and try to eat. So I don't know what you have over there, but that's why we didn't have it.
Squirrels can't get on it because it won't let them. It like moves around. But yeah, I don't have any problems with like mice or rats or anything coming around. Probably because we have a big fence right there that blocks off the canyon. So they probably can't even get in from that way because there's a fence there that doesn't allow them in.
Right. It's like it was the, what do you call it, fence?
The
like
glass
the
fence.
The glass fence. Yes. And it goes into the ground, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So they can't necessarily even burrow under.
Yep.
So that's probably why you're not having an issue, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
What do you call it? It's a good thing. But in this area, there for some reason there is maybe because we're close to the main roads and all the restaurants and so forth, that there's not a rat problem, but there are a lot of rats.
Totally. Yeah.
And they multiply like the dickens. So you know what I mean? So you got to be very careful. But we have bunnies in our yard that, so every time Jasper, our puppy, runs out, he goes running after whatever rabbits are in the backyard, and they duck under wherever they got to go. We have we have the raccoons in the far back, right? We know where they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got the possums around. So we try to keep it, nice and naturey in the yard, but it's crazy, man. Why would anybody be complaining about too many birds?
Because they have nothing better to do with their time in life.
And like she said, it's in her yard. So, essentially, like I can understand if you're coming out and, like I said, you're getting a whole bunch of, pterodactyl turds all over the place. But, if it's not even in your yard, why complain?
Yeah, what are you worried about?
I think it's hilarious, though, that she's throwing stuff over the fence.
So funny.
I've done it before. So one of the neighbors, who's no longer there, they sold. But what do you call it? This guy, we called him the squirrel guy. And what do you call it? Anytime a squirrel was out, he would come out and, like, with a broom and so screaming and yelling and stomping on
Jeez.
his deck to try to scare the squirrels away. And
Oh boy.
like hated squirrels, and we're just like, wow, this is crazy. So I used to like throw, if I had like peanuts or anything like crazy, I'd like kind of like throw them like right over or in the areas that yeah, I did that. It might not have been nice, but I did it. But
That's hilarious.
until I think he was just like trying to like shoot at him. So I stopped doing that because I didn't want them to get killed. But
That's really funny.
crazy people, man, crazy. So we got one more here.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start or
Yeah, go
no?
for it.
Okay. So this writer says, I don't consider myself a lesbian. All right. But I'll let my lesbian friend go down on me occasionally. She always laughs at me and says that I'm not a lesbian. I just like lesbian oral. Feels true. Wow. Okay. Man, they say that if I continue to lick a carpet, I'll become a lesbian. I do not feel like a lesbian. Wow. Interesting. Okay. You're a woman. You take this first. I'm all ears.
So it's I'm not sure how I get it. Like, it's interesting because such a double standard here. But if you were a dude that told me that you were getting a blowjob, I'd be like, oh, you must be bisexual. But for some reason, it hits different to me when it's a girl just getting eaten out. And it shouldn't. It's a total mind fuck of my own that I am wrong about, by the way. And so I'm like, okay, so she doesn't want to have a relationship with a woman. She doesn't want to go down on a woman herself. She doesn't want to have sex with a woman. Well, I mean, she's getting oral sex. But I mean, sure, if you are telling us that you are not a lesbian, maybe you are bisexual. If you're telling me you're not, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't know enough about it to make a call either way. And I'm just going to go with what you're saying.
Dayna's on a slippery slope, slippery slope. Dayna's on a slippery slope. The woman is a bisexual. That is it. End of story. You are bi. You are bi, and it's okay. Just because you know. Again, yes, you're letting her go down on you. Well, guess what? That means you're bi. Anything that's not the same sex, but you're not interested in a relationship, whatever, but you're still getting something from the same sex, that means you're bi. You're okay with it because you're attracted to her going down on you. That's it. That's bi, and it's okay. But you're still bi. You're still bi.
Did you come? Because I feel like that's a big one. Did you come?
You don't have to consider yourself a lesbian because you're not a lesbian. You're bi. Yeah. There you go. End of story. Okay. So we just solved your problem.
Yeah.
and off the slippery slope we go. That's it. Again, you could go a little further with that, because if you're not dating a man or you're not interested in men and you just get with the one woman, and you start, engaging with more, and then you are involving yourself in doing more with the woman, then essentially you could move into the lesbian category, I believe. But that the lesbian category would mean that you are not interested in having any kind of interaction with men. That's it. So, but if you're interested in interaction with men, and however, you do like getting your kitten licked, then by a woman, then that means that you go both ways to a certain extent. That's it.
Okay. I think that's fair.
You're bi. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And just like if some guy is like, oh yeah, I let a guy suck my dick, but that doesn't mean I'm gay. Well, you're right, but that means you're bi. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love women, I love pussy, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But I got my dick sucked by a guy. It was the best head I ever got, blah, blah, blah. He knew what he was doing. Well, guess what? That means you're bi. I'm not gay. No, you're not gay. You're bi. You know what I mean? And if that's what you're into, that's okay.
Great.
You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. Not for myself, but I'm okay with that for you, that you're bi. That's all. Don't be scared to say it. You know what I mean? I know there are a lot of, politicians that are out there that, like getting their dick sucked by other men. You know what I mean? Like,
they won't admit it, and they
won't
love
admit
Jesus.
But they love Jesus. They love Jesus. Well, instead of impregnating women and doing things behind closed doors that people don't get to see, maybe you should just jack off in some other guy's mouth or take it in the ass because at least they can't get pregnant. Men
Oh,
can't get
yeah.
pregnant. So,
Solves
maybe if
problems.
you wanna sit and regulate people's bodies, maybe you could regulate into a male instead of a female, and then this way we don't have
Oh,
to worry about your kind.
good idea.
Am I
Good
an asshole? Should
idea.
I have not gone there?
Yeah, well, whatever. It's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah. And that goes for anybody who's Democrat and feels the same way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It is what it is. Let's not just attack. I don't want to attack. I don't want to attack. I do want to. I really want to blow out, but put these jackass women on display though. Those two, I can't believe it. Did you read the
Yeah,
thing I sent you last
I
week?
did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Craziness. It's
Yep.
craziness. What do you call it? Anyway, guys, listen, I hope you had some good laughs with us. Also, lesbian friend over here, we're gonna call you by. We're gonna call you by just to make sure we finish off on you in the right well, that we finish you. I don't
Yeah.
get it.
We're just
Actually,
making sure you get finished.
actually, I should have Dayna say it because you like it from a woman instead. So
She
go
likes
ahead.
it both ways, actually, Brim.
There you go.
So
Oh, she does. She's all right with that. I like to lick carpet. What do you call it? You want your carpet cleaned? All right. I guess that's kind of being messed up though, because if you want your carpet clean and you always go to a woman for it, I mean, that's kind of like, putting down women saying that they're only good for one thing, cleaning, and that's not right. You know what I'm saying?
did not get that from this at all.
Shut up, Dayna. I was trying to be funny and mellow the mood out again because I went the other way. Anyways, all right. Listen, we really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning into the Dirty Little Secrets Club. We appreciate it. We love you. Make sure you hit us up on all the social media. Dayna, did we even tell them what the only rule of Dirty Little Secrets Club is?
We are slacking on that rule. Guys, the first rule of the Dirty Little Secrets Club is to tell everyone about the Dirty Little Secrets Club.
Absolutely. Continue to rate, review, subscribe. We love you. We appreciate you. We will see you again next week.
You think we want something from you, you got another thing coming.